Okay, so I've already explained the QMM. Okay, so I want to explain these things to you. This, okay, but I'll take out this one, even though it makes sense. Okay, but it's just going to bring more questions. So I'll take this one out. This is also an engulfing pattern, all right? But I'm taking it out. I'm going to talk about this engulfing, which is almost the same as this engulfing, right? And why it is important, okay? Now, especially engulfings that have the second candle, the engulf candle that have closed above it, okay? All right, what is it? Now, look at this. Why is the engulfing so important? Okay. Why is the engulfing so important? The most important thing about engulfing is the fact that the engulfing alone creates the QM pattern. Now look at the nature of the engulfing. In this particular example, I'm using this engulfing. You can see that the market opened here, this bullish candle. Okay. It came down to form the wick. So we have something like this, right? Went up to form the upper wick. Okay, so we have like this, and then this candle opened at the same level, went up to form the upper wick before it broke down. Okay, so in its nature, the engulfing pattern creates the QM. Okay, and that is why it is very, very, very important. Okay, so look at some examples. See this engulfing, just this engulfing, right? In this particular situation, even it is this one that went up, but it still created a QM. You can see. Wait, hold on. Okay. So you can see we have, let me use here, we have a high, low, a high, low, low. So we have a QM and the base is opposite it. Okay. So you have a QM here. And at first I used to mark the QM from the wick. Okay. But now I mark it on the body. You can look for an opposing SNL. So you see, it is just this engulfing, right? And that is why SNL will mark this SNL level. Okay, usually you mark that SNL level, price will tap into it and drop. Okay, all right. So let's go on. Let me take you to what you are doing today. Okay, all right. So another thing I want to talk about is the importance of a base. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Importance of a base. Okay. Okay. All right. You see, this base, or which I used to call a kissing candle. Look at it. Okay. This is also a hidden base, right? It's also a hidden base, or which you call the OC. Now, when you mark it, usually you will find what a base inside it. So this one will be equal to something like this. Base drop will look like this. Okay. So there is going to be a base drop inside it. That is why it's called a hidden base. Okay. Now look at it. When you find it this way and you mark it, you go to a higher time frame, you are going to find a base in it. Okay, so you see here we have a drop base drop, we have two bases. Okay, so this SNRC2. Okay, drop base drop. Okay, now when you mark it, you put an horizontal line there and you mark it and you trace it to to history, you will see that if that level is important, you see multiple rejections. Okay, this one, it means that it's a significant support. Price has rejected it, rejected it, rejected it. Okay, and then trace it back, you see number of rejections, rejections. Okay, right? This makes this level an important level, and this is from Maso Sapari, right? Now look at it, and that is why this one will hold. Okay, so that is how important the base is. Okay, look at this one too. Look at the number of rejections at that level. That makes it important, and that is why when you have a QM, so this brings you to the theory of the QM. What do you have? You have a support, or now a resistance that has been broken. Before breaking, price left a base. Okay, so there's a rejection, some rejection, and therefore QM, and that's the theory behind that particular QM. Okay, right. So let's go back to my QMC. Okay. Okay. Now let's talk about the difference between a QM and a QMC. And as I said a QM, the difference between a QM and a QMC. We know that the difference between a QM and a QMM is the fact that the QMM is a failed QM. Okay. Now, what's the difference between a QMC and a QMR? So the QM itself, okay, we are talking about the one we've spoken about is the QMR, which is the general QM, and the QMC, okay, and then the QMM, all coined by Bystra, okay. Now the QMR occurs at the top of a trend. Note, it occurs at the top of a trend. So it means that in this case, the market is going up, going up, going up, going up, and then boom, breaks. Okay, this is a QM reversal because that is a trend that has been broken. And so this is called QMR. Okay, now what is QMC? QMC, right, occurs inside the pullback. When price was coming down, it will create low, low. You get, so you see, you have a low, you have a high, a lower low, and a higher high. So you have a QMC. Okay. When going up, you have something like this. Okay. So let me draw it properly. Okay. So what I'm saying is that a QM will be like this. Go up. Okay. Come down. Go up. Come down. And then go up. Do this. And then you break and do this. This is a QM. It occurred at the top of the trend. Okay. The QMC, on the other hand, will be pullback, will be within the pullbacks. Okay. So we have low, high, low. So you have a QM. Okay. Low, QM in the pullback. Can you see? So we have a low, a high, a lower low, and a higher high. A low, a low, a high, a lower low, and a higher high. So that is how it looks like. Okay, that is the difference. So QMC means Quasimodo continuation. It is the same confirmation, same pattern as a QM that you've already learned. Opposite it has to be a base. Everything, just like the way we've learned it. Just that it is a continuation pattern and it is better than the QMR, because in the QMR, the confirmation is just a confirmation, but in the QMC, there has already been confirmation that we are up and we know that it's a pullback. So trading, I told you, strategy, breakout, pullback, entry, BPE, breakout, pullback, confirmation, entry, breakout, pullback, entry. And that is it. So when you have a QMC, let's say, before I explain what QMC actually is, you need to get that idea. When I have something like this and I have a QM inside, it is a breakout, a pullback. That's the best trade you could get. Entry with defined stop loss. Okay, so that is a QMC, and that is why, in terms of rating Bystra setup, okay, I place QMC number 1. I place SNLC 2 number 2. Sometimes even I can place this one SNLC 2 number 1. QMM number 3. QMR number 4, and SNLC 1. I don't like it. 1 number 5. Okay, but my whole champion is what? MEF, which I call transformation. I didn't rename it transformation just to take the credit of Bystra. Transformation is MEF. Okay, transformation is MEF. All right, so this is how I rank them. And so QMC has already given you the idea. So what is QMC? QMC is just like the way I have explained it, but Bystra adds additional level of confirmation, which is the trend line. Okay. And so she calls it confirmation like a boss. And confirmation like a boss is not just related to QMC, it can be related to even a QMM if it is in the same line with the trend line. Okay, so what is confirmation like a boss? First of all, there's a strong support. And if you have done support and resistance, you know that strong support is V and strong resistance is A, right? There's a strong support. And then price comes and creates an engulfing, okay? So there's a strong support, price pulls back, goes up, creates an engulfing. So the strong support is what your drive one, second support is your drive two, okay? Now, this second drive is the most important thing because it has an engulfing. It needs to have an engulfing. So once that engulfing is created, then you switch to a lower time frame and you are going to find this pattern in it. When you get this pattern in it, you draw it and to be leveled with the trend line that you have drawn through it. The first touch, the third touch is going to be your trade. Okay, let me explain it again. So price create a strong support, usually after hitting a higher time frame point of interest. Okay, so price has come to a higher time frame of interest, and that strong support, can you imagine, can be a QMR. So let's say we are doing this, price came, we had a QMR, created a head is a strong support, price comes back to test the QMR, create an engulfing again. Therefore, that engulfing that has been created, you look on the lower time frame, you're going to find a pattern in it. You draw a trend line through it, and then you have your setup for entry. Okay. It's very, very simple. Very, very simple. Okay. So that is it. Now let's look at. So you see, find an engulfing pattern that has two touches to a trend line. An engulfing pattern that has to, I could draw it this way. Okay. It won't change anything. Or I could draw, at first I used to draw it on the wick. Okay. But now I draw it with the body. It doesn't matter because the creator of the strategy does not place much emphasis on the trend line because she says the trend line is just for your eyes to see where price is going. Okay, so now look here. Inside this engulfing, inside this, we have an engulfing. Can you see? We have an engulfing. Okay, now you have to switch to a lower time frame if there's anything that is adjacent. So when you look here, you can see that you have a low, a high, a lower low, and a higher high. I can equally look for that pattern here. Okay, let me clear like this. Okay, it's still giving the same level. Can you see? Right. So now the trend line, price has to come to touch it on the trend line. This is your buy zone. Your stop loss is on the drive one. Okay, you get your trade and boom. Let's look at the results. Okay, look at it. You see, inside, if I had marked this level, it's still be the trade. Take profit above the high. Okay, more example. Look at this. First touch, second touch, we have created an engulfing. Okay, so now look inside this engulfing and find it. Now, when I look inside the engulfing, this is what I see: a low, a high, a lower low, and a higher high. Now, marvelously, what do you see? Opposite, you have a base. You have that base opposite it, right? So, boom. This is magic. Okay? Especially when you have already confirmed direction. Okay? Last example. We have a strong support. We have another touch, and we have an engulfing. Okay, so now that you have an engulfing, what can you do? Switch to a lower time frame. You see, we have a high, a low, a higher high. Okay, in this case, yes, slightly above, higher high, and a lower low. This situation now, I will not mark unless, yeah, it has closed above. So we have a QM. Okay, so at that level on the trend line, boom, touch and drops. Okay, and this is the same, this NZD card. Let's look at the next one. Okay, so here we have a first drive, a second drive. Okay, so you have an engulfing. This is perfect. Whether I draw it this way or draw it that way, this is perfect. Okay, what do? You switch to the lower time frame. What are you finding? This is a high, a low, a higher high, a lower low. You can choose to take this one. You can say this is a low, a high. No, sorry. You can choose that one. Okay, and say this is a high, a low, a higher high, a lower low. You draw it here. Okay, you draw it this way. So to touch the trend line, okay, and boom, it drops. And then this one, it gave you a fourth drive. Okay, we have a QM, and it was an engulfing. Boom. Why is it an engulfing? We've closed below this one. Okay, boom, came back straight into it. This has a drop base drop, complicated drop base drop opposite it, and it dropped. Okay, so that is QMC, and the difference between the QMC and the QMR, it's just what where they occur. The QMR is a reversal pattern. The QMC is a continuation pattern and occurs in the pullbacks. Okay, so here, impulse, pullback, impulse, pullback, impulse. So you see inside the pullback, inside the pullback. All right. Any question before I take you to the chart and show you one good example? Question?
Yes, I have one.
All right, go on.
Sorry, just tie direct related. I was hearing, that I just started studying SNR from you and a few other people, and then there was this thing I came across about freshness levels and whatnot. I don't know if you could touch on those perhaps.
No. I don't trade fresh and unfresh.
Okay.
All right. I don't need it because in engulfing, last time I told you guys that when you take an engulfing candle, within the engulfing, there are at least 2 SNR levels. Okay, I told you this. That is why the engulfing is powerful. So let's assume this is an engulfing. There's definitely a candle. There's definitely a candle here. Either it was a bearish candle, a bearish candle like this, or it was even a bullish candle. Okay. It could be a bullish candle. Whether it's a bullish candle or bearish candle, it creates a certain kind of resistance here. Okay. So this is one resistance. This is the second resistance in the engulfing candle, right? And therefore, so for instance here, okay, in this one, this is the engulfing, right? This is an SNR level. This is an SNR level. Okay, so once you are trading engulfing, you are automatically trading SNR in a way. All right. Okay. All right. Let me continue. Any other question related to this? No question. So I can go to the chart.
So what about sessions? Do you make use of sessions?
Trading sessions? Yes. Yes. Okay, hand raise. Josh. Yeah,
Hello, sir.
yeah, Josh.
I can ask my question in French.
No problem. No problem.
Mais vous pouvez me répondre en français pour que tout le monde puisse comprendre.
Okay.
Donc, la première condition à rechercher avant, avant d'avoir un QMC, il faut d'abord avoir un QMR d'abord,
Okay.
et ensuite, après le QMR, on va chercher le QMC. Est-ce que c'est comme ça?
Non, c'est pas comme ça. Si tu as un QMR comme ça, OK, la chose c'est quoi? C'est le SNL qui est ici. Donc, ça peut ne pas être un QMR. Ça peut être comme ça. Sans QM ici. Maintenant, c'est quand ça passe comme ça, il y aura une touche, une deuxième touche. Comme ça. Donc, la deuxième touche crée un QM comme ça. Et puis, dans la condition, c'est une résistance forte. Tu vois, non? Donc, résistance forte peut dire, ça peut être comme ça, avec le QMR, ou bien ça peut être directement comme ça, sans le QMR. Mais ça doit toucher.
Ah, ok.
Donc, tu vois ici, par exemple,
Uh-huh.
voici la résistance forte. Première condition. Deuxième condition, ça touche, ça crée un engulfing, avalement. Maintenant, dans l'avalement, tu cherches le QMR. Puis, ça vient toucher ça sur le trend line. OK?
Ah, ok, ok.
OK. OK.
On veut QMR in on the second drive.
Oui, oui, sur le deuxième drive. Maintenant, ça peut continuer. Tu vois, comme ça, ici, sur le troisième drive, on a créé un QMR. Et ça, c'est un avalement. Vous voyez, donc, le marché vient, ça touche, et puis ça tombe encore.
Okay, it's okay for me.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right.
Okay, so please, how do you use the sessions? What if your confirmation is in the Messian session?
No, I don't trade exchange session.
So
I
you
don't
see your confirmation there, you will not trade.
I don't trade exchange session. Okay.
Hello, Liz.
Yeah.
Okay, just
Uh, Pertaining to the fresh and unfresh, with backtesting, I realized something about the SNR levels.
Okay.
You realize that even with the where you've done the bearish engulfing, where you labeled it,
Okay. Here.
you realize that kissing candle, no, the down part,
Down part.
that part,
This one.
yeah, that's
Okay.
you realize that it's not fresh, but it has pushed price up so many times. So if you want
Yes.
to the fresh or non-fresh, it will take a very long time to get a trade. And even with the SNR, you realize that that particular part, that particular part that has rejected price so many times, it's even stronger. It's more stronger than even the fresh zones below.
Yes.
So here we don't use that fresh and non-fresh. Based on experience, you realize that it doesn't really hold often.
Yeah.
They should just stick to the we should
Yeah,
just
well,
stick
sir.
to the yeah.
Hello.
Thank you.
I like your point. So, for instance, when you look at this, even on the lower time frame, you see that at this point we have it looks like something like this. Okay. Can you see? You have a QM, you have a base opposite, and it is strong. So the point is he's making is this: if you are using engulfing, once price comes to that zone, it will give you a confirmation and you can buy again. It gives you a confirmation you can buy. Once you see, when you are using fresh and unfresh, you will not take a trade because price has come in. If you want to buy, then it means that you have to wait for all this while, okay, to be buying. All right. So me, I don't use fresh and unfresh. I mark my zone. When price comes to the zone and gives me any of my confirmation, I take the trade. All right. The next person, please. So that we look at one example.
Yeah, well, I was asking.
Yes,
sir. Yeah. I was asking now onto your confirmation. Is it on a lower time frame? Which lower time frame do you use?
No. So what is a lower time frame? A lower time frame is a time frame below the time frame you found the engulfing. A higher time frame is a time frame above the time frame where you found your pattern. This is not limited to a certain time frame. So in this particular situation, I think, let me check which of the chart is this. Which one came first? Okay. All right. So this is a 12-hour. Is it 12? 120 is what?
2 hours.
12 hours, right?
Two
No.
hours.
2 hours. Yes. This is a 2-hour chart. Thank you. And this one, I don't know, but this will be a daily, right? So what happens is that if I have found this engulfing on a higher time frame, all I need to do is to go to, if I come to 4 hours and I don't see the pattern, I go to 1 hour, I don't see the pattern. Is the pattern is the time frame where I'm seeing it, lower time frame. So it has no limit that, oh, okay, when you are on 4 hours and you find an engulfing, go to 30 minutes. If you don't find engulfing, no. You can come as low as you can form the engulf, find the engulfing, the pattern. So there's no limitation to the time frame. I'll do one example, show you one example with the replay mode, and you see. Okay. Any other? I think yes. Let me go to that. Let me do that one so that we end the session. I'm getting tired. Okay. So with the example, go to the chart. Where's the J forex? All right. So I usually use UNZD because that is the example I actually remember the most. Okay, with the QMC. Okay, so this one I'm trying to incorporate direction into it. Okay. All right. So in this particular chart, on the weekly, we have a weekly engulfing, but this was a base. Okay. On trading view, you see that is an engulfing. UNZD. I took one trade there and then it is not going well. After this, I didn't look for the full confirmation. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is this one here. Okay. So you see that it is an engulfing here. You have a drop base drop, this candle. Okay. So let's assume that you have marked that candle here. Okay. You have marked this candle. Now price came back on the weekly. Okay. You see on the weekly, you have touched the weekly. So let me show you. This replay. Cut from here. Okay. So now this is the weekly. Okay. We want direction. Price has to touch that level and create a daily engulfing. Okay. So no daily engulfing. No daily engulfing. Price touches it, creates a daily engulfing. Can you see? We have created a daily engulfing. Now that the daily engulfing has been created, direction states that you go to 4 hours to find an engulfing field inside this daily engulfing that has been created. Okay, this daily that has been created has to create an engulfing field to confirm direction. So 4 hours, we have an engulfing field here. Okay, we have an engulfing field here. So price has created a daily engulfing and has created a 4-hour engulfing field. Okay, so meaning that this level that you have marked has been confirmed. It's a strong zone and that we are bearish. Okay, so now that you have marked this, we go back to the daily. It was a daily engulfing. What do you find? There's a QM pattern. Can you see? You have a high, a low, a higher high, and a lower low, right? So we mark that QM level. Okay, I'll mark it with a line like this. Okay, what do you have opposite it? You have a drop, a base, a drop opposite it. So this is where we want to be sellers, right? Right now we are bearish because weekly has created a daily engulfing. The daily engulfing, we found a pattern in it, and so we can sell. Okay, so now price counts back to the zone. Took some time. Okay, then boom. Okay, we created a level and price just hit it. Okay, so we have a good trade from here. Now go back to daily. Daily has created an engulfing. This one has created an engulfing. So I'm taking this box out. Taking this box out. Okay, right. Daily has created an engulfing. 4 hour has created an engulfing field, I think. Yes, 4 hours created an engulfing field. Okay, so this engulfing field. The most important thing is the engulfing field. Okay, so when price created an engulfing field, I think here there was a QMM on 1 hour. I think so, yes. I should think so. High, low. No, the QMM was here. Okay, so you have a QMM level here. Okay, opposite you have the base. So price missed the base a little bit. So that's a QMM. All right, so I'll go back to 4 hour or the daily. Right, so if I draw a trend line, this is a strong resistance, which is a drive 1, a drive 2. Okay, if I draw a trend line into it, let me use the daily. Okay, so on the daily, I can draw something like this. Depends on how you want to draw it. I can draw it this way. Okay, now if I draw this and I go to 4 hour, so I like drawing it on the 4 hour. Okay, so now if I look into it, I have, this is where there's a situation. The situation is that you have a high, a low, a high, a low, a low. Is that this high or this high? Okay, but they are not too far apart. So I'll mark this one. Okay, then I'll mark this one. Okay, it's a QMC. So let me use this one. Okay, not like this. Okay, so we have a QMC. Why? Because you have a high, strong resistance, price broke, create another strong resistance that has given us an engulfing on the daily. Okay, so a daily. So this is a sell zone. So we go back to that time frame. We play. Boom. Okay. All right. Now you see this one at this one. Remember, I said you use what? The base. Okay. Use the base. I didn't do it well. Okay, there's a base opposite. 1 hour base there should be a base. Okay, so there's a base opposite. You have a drop, base drop. This candle, boom, touches it and then drops. Okay, now let's see if we can get more trade here. This resistance, I think so. Can draw something like this and then mark. Let's see if you have an engulfing on the 4 hour. H4, not our kind of engulfing. Daily. Okay, 12-hour engulfing. Okay, so we have a 12-hour engulfing. You may not have 12 hour. Okay, so I can draw this QM on 4 hour and then see if price will come into it. Okay, I think. And then look if you have a base opposite, no base, F, G. Let's see. Oh. Oh, it never came. So that is QMC. Once you have the engulfing and you mark the zone, come. Yeah, it did it. Okay. So you see now, what this? When I marked that pattern that I'm seeing visible on the H4, okay, realize that I didn't come when I came to 1 hour. I saw that this one has gone up. I didn't go and mark that level. See, I didn't go and mark the level. Now, if when price was coming, I'll be looking at where price will hit and hit the trend line. So if it was coming here, then I think, okay, this is at this level, it is closer to the trend line. Okay, at this level, it is closer to the trend line. Once price has come here, okay, let's see. Okay, right, touched and boom, it fell. All right, any question? So we are ending today's session. We're ending today's session like this. If you have a question, you can ask. All right.
Thank you so much. And it's more of not more of a question, like a request. Please, is it possible for us to have like a PDF? You know, like how you had the PDF for the first time when you had your daily bias and everything. Is it possible to have a PDF of like this new concept of QM and
this one, the PDF is I think I've shared a PDF on the Model 3 group. Okay, I'll forward it to the group. All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Any other? Any other?
Oui, s'il vous plaît, monsieur.
Oui.
Oui, excusez-moi. Est-ce qu'il y a une relation bon, c'est pas par rapport. Bon, est-ce qu'il y a une relation entre les différents QM patterns et puis le blind spot?
Ok. Blind spot, on va faire blind spot aussi, mais ça n'a rien à voir avec les patterns. Ok. On va faire blind spot. Donc, blind spot, c'est facile. C'est seulement un engulfing. C'est comme engulfing field. Ce sont seulement les noms qui changent. Tu vois? Voici blind spot. Okay, so he's asking about blind spot, okay? Wait, so I'm saying that blind spot is just an engulfing field that we are trading. So, voici blind spot comme ça. Blind spot, c'est seulement engulfing field. Donc, selon blind spot, voici l'endroit. Donc, c'est seulement un engulfing field. Et comme je l'ai dit au début, j'ai dit un engulfing field peut être un QMM. Ça veut dire que un Quasimodo qui a échoué, qui n'a pas reçu. Tu vois? Puisque ici, comme ça, on peut avoir ça. Tu vois?
Yes.
Tu vois? Donc, ça, c'est le blind spot. Mais le blind spot peut aussi avoir un QMM. Donc, le blind spot, c'est ce que j'appelle engulfing field. Donc, c'est facile. Donc, ça peut avoir des relations. Mais la relation, surtout, c'est la plupart des fois, c'est Quasimodo manipulation, QMM. OK?